And what would that dragging be? Is it perhaps a object of interest to the cat? You betcha, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to warmly welcome you to Day 9 Daily 640. I have been terrible at remembering what number we're on, but it's quite high. We're almost at 650 episodes. What? Not even a skateboarder can do a 650. Ladies and gentlemen, the scraping to you cheers. Welcome. So bright and early in the evening. Should your day be going good or bad? Should you be feeling wonderful or unstressed? Or perhaps a little strung out from a rough work week? Have no fear, for the Daily is here to remind us all that gaming kicks ass. Take a break, grab a brew, and watch me get through this daily without choosing the wrong replay. 647, thanks so much, chat. Bing! In Daily 647, today's Daily, we're going to watch Hero versus Hack because I love Hero so much. He's probably my favorite player in the whole wide world, and he has a remarkable ability to win. So we're going to watch him play some games against Startail Hack, a very good player, his opponent in yesterday's WCS round of 16. And we're going to appreciate him. We're going to start out with the game that Hero loses, because I want to start on a low note and go up. We're already continuing up from the low note of yesterday's Daily. And it's just too good. We can't not talk about it. So yesterday, I guess the story really begins on Tuesday, when I'm sort of idly watching WCS America and working and watching and working, and I have it up because I know that I'm going to be doing a daily on that round of 16 on Wednesday. So I may as well kind of do the multitasking and both see the matches I want to see, and maybe I'll get some info on what would be a good game to do the following day. What would make sense? Seems to make total sense. And I recall I really liked the Moxhead Oz games. Those were probably far and away my favorite. I'm a big PvP fanatiquement. But I think Scarlet Moxhead really showcases some interesting strategies. I remember the games being pretty good. I got the replay pack from NASL. I'm getting ready to do the show. And I noticed that, like many Chinese players, Mox is playing under a Smurf account. So I opened up a game of Scarlet versus Tassadar. I'm talking like crazy about how it's common to have Smurf names in the tournament. Mox said in particular very comfortable with account trading and account smurfing and doing all that sort of switcheroo. So I'm in the show, and I know Mox said wins 4-0. And I know I've seen the game. It was a little different than I remember. I was tired. I was very tired going to the show, so I was like, you know, it's fine. We're just going to get through this. And I mean, I'm like justifying actions that Mox says doing, because he's going to win with it. But if you rewatch that show, you'll hear the doubt in my voice. You'll hear me like, I don't really like this. I'm not positive. You know, this is like an immortal sentry push after getting a lead. I'm not a fan of this, but, you know, kind of does, but, you know, no, look, this is just not good, okay? The attack got killed, and I was like, yeah, see, there we go. I'm a caster, I get it. And then, like, later on, he loses his whole army again. He's replenishing with, like, Stalker Archon versus Infestor Ultralisk. And I'm like, I'm not a fan of that, because Stalkers die, but here's some possible advantages it has, because in my head I fucking know he wins! And then he lost, and I was like, what? And that is the most shocked and surprised you will ever see me. Ever. I was like, I was 100% sure of something and was wrong. I knew he would win, and yet there he had GG'd. I was like, wait a minute here. So I go to Liquipedia. This is all live. All of this was yesterday. You can hear me type. I'm going to Liquipedia. I'm like, did he lose a game? And he went 4-0. It's like recorded, and I was like, what game did we just cast? So I'm sitting there, I'm looking at chat, and everyone's like, LOL, LOL, and I'm like, who who did we just watch play? And then it turned out that, in fact, Scarlet had played against Tassadar after being eliminated in the Challenger League. So I was casting a Challenger League game, and I was like, aha! And the irony is beautiful, because at the start of the daily, I was like, you know, Moxhead just doesn't get enough credit for being as good as he is. So the purpose of this show, I swear to God I said this, the purpose of this show is to make sure that we give Moxhead enough credit. And then I casted a game of someone that fucking isn't him losing. How does that help? Oh my God, what a disaster. Like 2012 apparently did happen. The world ended, but it just was a little bit late. Oof. Whoopsie daisies. That's okay. Being a Platinum League caster, I hope to become a Diamond League caster soon enough. Playing StarCraft, totally fine. I can easily get like Masters and maybe Grandmaster and all that stuff if I could play, but casting wise, I just made it out of gold, but my MMR is high. Okay. On the bright side, let's talk about someone who isn't Moxhead, who plays under his ID. There we go. That was a good save, though. That was a good save. So I was feeling strong. I was feeling wholesome again after my unbelievable failure. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come home today and I'm gonna be in great shape. I'm gonna stop bumbling through all these mistakes I've been making. I'm just gonna rock it. And then I show up and Tristan's like, where's dinner? And I'm like, oh, I told you I'd bring you dinner. Oh my God. And it wasn't even like he asked if I could bring him dinner and I agreed. I contacted him at 11 today and insisted that I should bring him dinner. And I showed up and he's like, where'd the dinner that you promised and insisted that you'd bring me go? And I'm like, it's so interesting because it's actually back at the store ready to be ordered. So things are going good. This is why we're beginning with the loss. Notice how we're coming back around. We're beginning with Hero's loss, so that way we can see a short win and then a longer win. Let's hop into this game. Woo, baby. This is on the map that begins with a Y that I don't want to take an attempt to pronounce. It's like Yonsu. This is the Y map that in PvT I actually quite like. I quite like a lot. Obviously, we have a natural expansion, and natural expansions are... they exist on all maps. We see there's this natural expansion action going down here. There is a third that I am not the biggest fan of taking because it has a roundabout attack route. It kind of has this other big central attack route. And you know what? This is an area of space we're going to have to defend from drops anyways. What I like so much is killing this off gives us a very nice, digestible, delectable third, and I love this fourth. I love this fourth base because if we just hold this here watchtower, we essentially have all of these bases from ground. The only chokes to get here are here and here. These are the only ground chokes to get up to these three bases, with the exception of this one at the right, and we kind of got to defend that anyways from drops. So this is kick-ass. I love this map. But at the same time, there are other nifty angles that we can exploit, such as this front. The fact that Terran doesn't really have a good way to secure this with a ramp. I mean, I know he has this one here, but we can easily just walk right up here and we're battling in a direct fashion. Also significant to note that as Terran begins to move out, it's very difficult for Terran to really have a complete lockdown on all the various warp-in angles, again, unless he's quite far extended forward. So we have nice opportunities to do drops. If he expands here, our Colossus and Stormers can shoot from here. This is a very cool tactical map. I like this map. I also like ×8 speed, apparently. Delicious Palo Alto tap water. So much better than Los Angeles tap water, which I do drink. I drink the delectable, delicious, opaque Los Angeles tap water. Now, I talked all about the wonderful and wubulous benefits. That which makes us tickled pink with pleasure as the Protoss side of things. But let's talk about getting hurt. Let's talk about being wounded. Counterattack paths are quite big. Moving down here, I have lost many a game to Hellions just waltzing up here, and vice versa. This is a very nice location to just hold. And then if we have, like, there's this tactic that any race can do, where if they hold both of these watchtowers, counterattacks are a real pain in the bum. If we have this one and this one, first, many attacks will begin moving down this way, move down this ramp, and across like this. Sometimes across to the left, across to the right, whatever, it doesn't matter. The watchtower sees us. And if we just position units here, we can just walk up into his base. Look at how short the distance is from this watchtower to this main is. Excuse me, this base is. Versus the distance between this Notice realm and the expansion. It's like my hand is cramping more trying to do the smooth mouse motion from here than from here. You can just see it on the mini-map. Short distance, long distance. So many counterattacks are possible. This can take the form of Hellions sweeping in, Marines sweeping in, even something as simple as a Ripa moving from this watchtower into your main base with ease. And it can do it with ease. So this is a map where I'm less inclined to move out with a Stalker if I see him doing any sort of Reaper opening. Which, what do you know, Joe? He's doing a Reaper opening. Alright, back to the hero cam. Now hero's going to open up with the standard of all standards, double gas, and a core. He scouts after the core. He's getting halfway across the map. He's cool. He's chill. We don't see the Zealot going down right away. It can go down right away. I think it should go down right away. But we see our prober getting the opportunity to spot that a Reaper's popping out. It's kind of exact timing to be able to get in here and get information as late as possible. Cool, we know we're up against a sort of early expander. We can cancel that and go for Nexus really easily. Now, you've heard me talk about this trick, but Hero does a very sexy, subtle maneuver. He sees that there is the command center down. Now, I shouldn't find that as funny as I do, but we were listening to some Toe Jam and Earl music before we began the show. And I don't know if any of you have had root beer and Toe Jam and Earl. You burp. I'm very sexy and subtle. Spelled S-U-B-T-L-E. Boom, 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 doom, 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 boom, doom, doom, doom. But yeah, so this, the reason this is a nice move, seeing the command center, so responding with an expand of our own, is that it's very impossible for Hack to have enough for the engineering bay at that point. He has to build supply depot and reactor and other such things. So everything is just as it should be. Up in Hero's base, he's quite happy. But there is something subtle. Woo! My singing's really bad today, but here's the subtle thing. Every Protoss player knows that there's sort of a trifecta of needs. I should say perhaps a quartet of needs that comes up after this Nexus goes down. They are the following four. Second gas, warp gate research, a third pylon, and the Stalker. Oops, the Stalker. We don't see the third pylon down right now, but we can see that Hero wants it right now. He's at 25 at 26. Does he, for instance, cancel this probe and then throw down the pylon? We want to have constant probe production. Many players, what they will do is not research warp gate, so they can build a pylon right now. The last thing of the quartet that they get is the warp gate. And they'll get this other gas. Many players will get the assimilator as the last part of the quartet, and they will still get a very early warp gate. But Hero, we see, gets the gas, the warp gate, the Stalker, does result in a little bit of discordance in his strategy. A little bit of pain, teariness, weariness. He's going to go straight for a robo. Isn't that odd? Isn't that weird? It's not actually weird because this is kind of a cheesy, cheeky play coming up. I'll note that actually I need to hit the B key for you really to appreciate it. This is going down at the very early time of 4:45. This is going to be a little bit of a BS cheesy attacky play. This is not your standard dirtle, oh, I want observers. This is saying, you know, if we cut the pylon, we can get this up really early. We can even have warp gate researched and do a sweet immortal warp gate play. The last thing that goes down is the pylon. Beyond that, dudes get thrown in the assimilator. Why would we want a stalker so early? Because we saw a Reaper. And why are we keeping the stalker in our main base? Because we want to make sure that the Reaper cannot scoot us. So naturally, sentries are built up in. An immortal is started instantly. Chronoed out, all up and about. Even some probers being cut to make sure that our total utter BS all-inishness play functions smoothly, well, and clean and good, as every nice old all-in should. 2 probes being produced at a time, you might think it gets in the way of the immortal production, and guess what? It does. So he cancels them, so he can build another immortal. The nature of the cheese plays. This is a very difficult play to detect, because from a Terran perspective, the only thing you're really going to see is fewer probes, and you got to be really on point to recognize that that's what's going on. In the main base, it's the usual 16 on the minerals, and a few on each assimilator. Not a few, 3. 3 on each assimilator and 16 mining minerals. The issue is, it's very easy to see 3 here and not know if he's doing a cheese or if he just has 18 probes here and hasn't transferred. It's extremely difficult to pin this on the player really easily. And it's there to exploit the fact that many players will cut building a bunker. But I want to note what this is. This little attacker. This is our tragedy point. This is where I want to come to around 6:30 and come to the hack cam. In the hack side of things, hack has just seen a pretty normal looking base, but does see an early robotics facility. He does see it. This is just a nice little early push timing. We were talking about the potential for counterattack. We rarely ever talk about it. But if we're here and we see some units moving down, it's so easy to just move up here and counterattack. I mean, hell, even if we just see the mothership core moving down, to just move up here and attack, and tragedy strikes, and everyone cries. And soon enough, all of Hero's units dies. Immortal, go! Do warping! Ah, micro! No! This was painful to see. He's lost and it is GG. I'm finding it hard to believe he's not dead. So Hack is going to set himself up the defense. It's very nice. It's very good. And we see somewhat of a frustrating but very important piece to our offensive puzzle. Had a Stalker simply moved here and held this to be able to cover this movement path, this would have been a very nice, very wholesome little all-in. And here he goes. And time warp, force field. And GG. But that's okay, because we have 2 wins from Hero coming up. Ooh! We had ourselves the opportunity to talk about some of the likes, dislikes on this map is Protoss, some of the strengths and weaknesses in any matchup, counterattacking, good expanding patterns, etc. Even got the chance to talk about the specifics of this particular cheesy play and how Hero was able to find the money to make it happen. We even got the chance in part 1 to talk about botching a hard on your own show. When we come back, we're going to watch Hero win with his usual control-heavy, sexy, fast style. I'm going to be so happy when he does.